What's up guys, this is Ray and today we'll be talking about the 2020 Japanese movie AI Amok, directed by Irie Yu and starring Osawa Takao. But before we dive into this review, if you guys are new to Eiga-Man Ray, I upload reviews and discussions of Japanese movies every chance that I get. So if you're new to the channel and you dig the content, you can support the channel by checking out other videos that I've uploaded and also by subscribing. So the story of AI Amok. It takes place in the future, like the 2030s or something like that. And in this world, AI runs everything. You know, if you ever seen, what's a good example? The anime movie Summer Wars. This reminded me a lot of that, in which a lot of the world, or at least a lot of Japan's infrastructure is dependent on this AI. And the AI is named Nozomi, which kind of means hope. And you know, both names are utilized in the movie. But Nozomi, the AI, was created by Osawa Takao's character, Kiryu. Like initially, Kiryu had made this AI to support people's lives, starting with his wife, who had died a few years previously. But now this AI has been developed to basically support anything, including medical infrastructure, banking, the way people's lives are run, basically. So Kiryu lives in Singapore with his daughter, and they get called back in Japan for this ceremony in which Kiryu can make some words about Nozomi. It's after he returns to Japan that something goes really strange with the AI, as what you can expect with the title of this movie. The AI starts to run amok. So different systems start to crash, different people's lives are put in danger, and eventually they find the existence of this countdown clock. And so what this countdown clock essentially means is that Nozomi is taking the time to select which humans it deems worthy of living. And then at the end of this countdown, you kind of know what's going to happen. So it's up to Kiryu to figure out what has happened and to save the day. But Kiryu won't be able to do it so easily because, as luck would have it, he gets framed to be the mastermind behind this AI going haywire. So he turns into a fugitive and he's on the run. So that's how the story starts when it comes to AI Amok. You know, when it comes to the positives of the story, you know, I like Osawa Takao's performance. You know, I like him as an actor. I really do like the performances he delivers in all his movies. And I thought he did an exceptional job here. Like, I felt like he did a good job of playing kind of like that reluctant hero who didn't want to get involved in the first place, but then he got involved, and he's doing what's right so that way everything is fixed. And as I hinted earlier, he turns into a fugitive, so you get a lot of those cool fugitive on the run kind of story moments. And I felt physically like Osawa Takao, I think he's gained a lot of muscle in the past few years. You know, if you guys ever seen the movie Kingdom, you know, you can see all the muscle he put on for that role. And I think a lot of it carried over into this role. He does have maybe one or two moments where you see him without a shirt, and yeah, he's pretty built. And it felt like physically wise, he did, you know, he was a great fit for this movie. And I like the kind of technology that this world uses. You know, as I mentioned earlier, this takes place in the far future, like the 2030s. And for the most part, technology hasn't changed much. And I think, you know, an average sci-fi movie, if it takes place that far ahead in the future, like 10 years in the future, things would probably be all wild. But I think because, you know, we're in 2020 right now, and you see movies, sci-fi movies from 20, 30 years ago that try to predict how 2020 was going to be. And it's definitely not as advanced as what those movies have predicted. So the kind of technology that's featured in this movie, in the supposed time era, it's not that big of a jump from what we have now. I think it makes it a little bit more believable. You know, some of the technology that they utilize are just kind of, how do you say, more advanced versions of stuff that we already had. And even the concept of an AI controlling all infrastructure, you know, it's not that far-fetched to believe, I want to say. So going back, I think I'm all right with the technology not being too out of control, too wild compared to what we have nowadays. And some of the technologies and the machines that they have in the story and utilize, they make for some good and fun moments, especially when it comes to adding to the suspense of this fugitive story. And you know, like they make use of some drones that always are constantly chasing Kiryu. And you know they're just around the corner, and seeing the way Kiryu, seeing his kinds of ideas that he can outrun them or just basically trick them and go off in another direction, I think it makes also for some pretty fun and creative ways to add to Kiryu's character. So when it comes to the positives, I think that's pretty much it. I think for the most part, this movie is more, how you say, more enjoyable from a visual point of view. When it comes to actual substance, I think that's where I have issues. That when it comes to the negatives, you know, first of all, I guess as someone who is so used to Hollywood movies, Hollywood sci-fi, a lot of these ideas don't seem too new and too unique. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I do like that the technology isn't so far from what we have now, but I feel like just a lot of the ideas that this movie pushes forward, like it's not that new to us. And this movie features a decent number of well-known actors. Like you have Kaku Kento playing the brother-in-law of Osawa Takao, and you even have Hirose Alice as a police officer. But there are some characters that just pop in and out of the story. They get little screen time, like Tamashiro Tina is in this. Like I think 2019 was a pretty good year for Tamashiro Tina. She really did a lot of good roles last year, so to see her in a very small part in this movie was kind of disheartening. And you have some characters that, you know, you see them come on screen. I don't want to say who, but then you know that they're pretty big and they're pretty famous. And then they die like literally like 7 minutes later, and it's like, really? That was it? Are they gonna come back? Wait, are you tricking me, movie? Nah, they're gone. And I also felt that the big bad of this movie, I don't want to say whom because it's part of the mystery of what's happening. I felt they could have done something better with not only who the big bad was, but also the reveal of it all. And I think, you know, you can kind of see it coming from a mile away. And I don't know, it just wasn't that exciting for me. So overall, what do I have to say about AI Amok? As a sci-fi action movie, it's fun and entertaining on a visual sense. Like you get some cool like fugitive action sequences. You get some interesting ideas when it comes to usage of technology, and even, you know, the character of Kiryu and the way he uses his intelligence to outrun all these highly advanced technological systems. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. But when it comes to the ideas that it presents, as I mentioned earlier, there's not really much new to add to the discussion. And I think the way the story plays out, it's pretty paint by the numbers. A lot of things can be pretty predictable. And even the bad guy, as I said, you can see coming from a mile away. Yeah, check this movie out if you want to be entertained more by the action sequences and just everything from a visual standpoint, as opposed to the sci-fi, actual science fiction aspects of the story. Anyways, yes, those are my thoughts on AI Amok. What did you guys think? If you've seen it, let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on all the social media channels, and by all means, if you really dig the content, feel free to hit that notification bell to be notified every time I upload a new video. And of course, check out my Patreon page, of which you can find in the description area below. And yeah, that's about it for me, guys. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to all my patrons over at Patreon for supporting this channel. And I'll catch you all again in the next video. Take it easy.